This is the GJRB Online Network. GJRB News, I'm Gary Russen. Good afternoon, everyone. President Trump's impeachment trial tops today's news as prosecution goes first in the trial.
The Senate about to be in session as a court of impeachment after an all-night session setting up trial rules. House impeachment managers led by California Democrat Adam Schiff will begin up to 3 days worth of opening arguments.
We will go into extensive detail about what happened and when and how we know that it happened.
And managers unsuccessfully argued for several amendments from Senate Democrats designed to force subpoenas of witnesses and documents. Instead, an organizing resolution delays questions about additional testimony and evidence until both sides present their cases.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham sent this message to the House managers today.
You got an uphill battle with me, because I really do believe that the best group of people to pick a president are the voters, not a bunch of partisan politicians.
He argues that the Democrats didn't push the House for witnesses they're demanding in the Senate because the court fight would have risked delaying the impeachment trial till after the election. The United Nations experts are demanding an investigation into the hacking of a cell phone belonging to Jeff Bezos. We have more of this now from Fox News.
Experts for the United Nations saying Jeff Bezos' cell phone was hacked after he received a file sent from the Saudi Crown Prince's number. The experts describing the alleged hack as an effort to influence reporting on Saudi Arabia in Bezos' newspaper, The Washington Post. It's said to have happened a few months before Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi was killed by Saudi agents. Saudi Arabia calling the allegations absurd. Simon Owen, Fox News.
And this is GJRB News. Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radioland. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Once again, I did not have my microphone on, so I'm going to shut this off, this two-minute piece, and repeat that story. Once again, some of the stories we're covering for you throughout the afternoon here on GJRB Online as part of our new feature here on the GJRB, the Gary Russen program. An Oregon woman was fired from a bank after struggling to help a struggling man with $20 to get home for Christmas. We'll have that story coming up. I think that's kind of a lame thing to do for a bank that can't help somebody. And again, that's the evil cruelty we have in the end of the world here. And coronavirus cases in China, raising 440 now known dead. We'll have these stories coming up throughout the afternoon. And when news breaks, bottom of the top of the clock to keep you on top, GJRB Online News. I'm Gary J. Russen at the GJRB News Desk.
There's a problem on our roads today, and that is the safety of our children boarding and getting off the bus on busy roads. That problem is drivers who don't stop at a school bus when the arm is out, the lights are flashing, and the stop sign is out, leaving kids in danger of getting hit. That problem is also people who are so much in a hurry to get to work or too busy on their phones to pay attention to what's going on outside their windshield. As a result, someone hits a child getting off the bus. If you pass a school bus with its lights flashing, its arms out, and stop sign flashing, you have committed a stop arm violation. This is the law. Violators could cost you a suspension of your driver's license and a $250 fine. When you see a school bus stopped at the corner, letting off kids, stop 25 feet away from the bus. Don't take that chance. A public service announcement from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and GJRB Online. Next news at the bottom of the hour. Get real news breaks. You're covered and informed.
And now, transmitting on an assigned frequency of 107.9 megacycles from the GJRB network in beautiful downtown Clinton, Iowa. It's the Gary Russen program on Talk FM 108. And now your host, Gary John Russen.
Yeah. And thanks to my good friend Blake Myers for making that for me. Yeah. I can't believe I can't, how long have I been doing this? Let's see, since 2012, right? You think I know how, you think I would be able to turn on my microphone? You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand it. Just amazing how it just blows my mind. Anyway, that's how it goes. You think I have that, like down right for a change. But again, you heard the news sounder, but not my voice because I didn't have my microphone on. Isn't that sweet? Just shows you how pro I am. I'm going to get this tight thing done and down pat one of these days where I can actually achieve something here. It's just amazing how just kind of, I don't know what's wrong with me sometimes. But anyway, hello everyone, hello everywhere across America and around the world. I'm Gary J. Russen. Welcome to the Gary Russen. Well, you know where we're at. Clinton's North End, just above the Lion Shopping District in Clinton, Iowa. Welcome to the Gary Russen program. Our show is called the Gary Russen Program Midweek Edition here on GJRB Online. This is where we do our show, and we have a lot of fun doing it and having a good time. It's our midweek edition, which is going to be on frequently. As I told you before, I'm working on a radio schedule. It's going to work where a lot of my main shows are going to be heard more often. I'm struggling with it, but I'm doing pretty good so far. I think I'm kind of getting the schedule, and it seems to be working out. It's just what it is right now. Is I'm trying to come up with a way for this thing to to work for for me. To be able to, do a good show and, have people listen. But like I said before, it's just a matter of practice. And, going back to what Fred Rogers used to always say, about practicing, practice makes perfect. Not all the time, but enough to make it so that we can have a decent show, and be able to be tight on everything. But this is a midweek show, and on midweek shows, it's pretty much a little looser. I do freestyle stuff. I play a little bit of music, do a little bit of news, do a little bit of conversation, and try to post the show around now. As I've told you before, I've been having trouble with Facebook, and I mentioned this earlier, and that they do not post my show. Numerous times I've gone on the air live, and I look around for my widget, which is supposed to go up on my Facebook page. Now, if I look, and let me see if I can go into my Spreaker public site, because I would see that the stream is going now for people
who follow me on Twitter, you do see the posting right away. It's there. As a matter of fact, you can listen to me on Twitter live, which is a lot better than Facebook, which only kind of shows you my widget. There's like a big difference there. You can listen to the show. Well, I have to manually post my show on Facebook. The communist site does not like my so force the show on anyway. You see, I don't think I should have to pay to get listeners. And Facebook makes you pay to get listeners. I have to put so much money to reach 800 some odd thousand people. And so I decided, well, I'm going to do something to combat this. Now, the problem with that is if I start another Facebook page, then the connection to the Spreakers is different, because then it's back to the free speech plan, which only gives me 15 minutes. Well, I say, well, what I'll do there is I'll just friend myself on Facebook, and then it should, I should be able to just like post this show over there at the same time I'm posting over here. So that's what I'm doing. And I think that will work for a while. I'm not sure exactly how well that's going to work, but I'm going to keep trying to pull that off. And, see if we can get some, responses. So what I do is I just go ahead and copy paste a message onto my groups. I'll go to my Facebook and I'll kind of post it. While I'm doing that, usually I just talk to you. But so how's things going? And I hope everything's doing good for everybody else. It's been an interesting week. We had a bad storm this past weekend. And, when you get these winter storms, they're something else. We had ice. We had a sidewalk outside our studios here that gets slippery. For some apparent reason, they don't like to shovel or during the weekends. If a storm happens on the weekends, you're out of luck. They don't come out here and throw salt down. Well, and it's without making a mention what happened this weekend, but it just results in falling without saying any more to that. And I wasn't too happy about it, and so just to mention the fact that when I do fall, I'm fine. It's not that problem. It's just the fact that they don't put down any salt on the weekends if there's no one here on the weekends. So again, we're out of luck in that situation. So we have to work with what we've got. So I went out and got some rock salt, but it's the normal rock salt that when you lay it down, when you lay down the rock salt, it's too cold for it to thaw out the ice. It takes forever. It's not, you have to. I didn't realize that you have to, yeah, really, you have to, let's see, you have to put it. Let's just say you have to lay down the ice. You have to lay down the salt. But they have a different kind of salt that you lay down as compared to salt used when it's above 40? 30 above freezing. If you have temperatures below freezing, if you have temperatures in the single digits, that kind of rock salt that you put down on the ground doesn't always work. And it doesn't really melt the ice fast enough. So, lesson learned. I guess if you get below zero and you get temperatures at sub-zero and you get wind chill factors below zero, don't even bother laying down that kind of because it will not work. That kind of assault, because it will not work. It will not function properly. It doesn't it doesn't work, unfortunately. But I laid it down, and now the sidewalk is pretty well melted, but the weekend it was pretty bad. And I'm telling you, next time we have an ice storm, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere until it clears out. I'm that way about it. Even if I fall, it could hurt me. But let's just say that we're fine, we're okay, we're doing cool, and it's just what we're doing right now, the Gary Russen program. And this week, pretty much talk radio. I'm not doing too much on the air this week. I'm trying to get some shows prepped for future broadcast. I just posted on all my groups. Meet the Spreakers, Spreaker Tavern, let people know I'm on the air live, GJRB Online, and now I also post to a friend because I friend myself. See, I got, like I said earlier, a lot of people thinking that I was hacked. My sister posted that this morning, and I said, no, I just started another Facebook page to help distribute my program because I'm not getting listeners. And the reason I'm not getting listeners is because Facebook will not post my show. So I just started another Facebook page, another Facebook account, and put it under the name of Gary John. And that is, then I friended myself on my regular side. And in this way, I can post the show. I can post my show to me, and then the people following me there will see that I'm on the air live. You see what I'm saying? So that Facebook, even though I do post on all my groups, I might not always get listeners at the beginning of the program, but I might get listeners later on in the program because I posted already. And now that I'm doing the 3-hour plan, which is I'm on Broadcaster, I'm on here straight 3 hours. That program, this program that I'm on right now is already permanently installed on Facebook. You'll see that. Now, like I said, you'll see that on my Facebook page, and you'll also see it on my Twitter page as well. I'm the Radio Maniac. When you see that, go to www.spreaker.com/user/5120525, or just get into my Twitter page. I am the Radio Maniac, and when you get into there, you'll see the stream right there. You can listen right there, which is kind of cool. I like that idea. You can listen right there, and you can catch the show there, and just click in, and it'll take you right to my main site. And when you do that, you just click the comic book icon, and it will take you to my Spreaker public site, and you can listen to the radio show right there. It's there live, and a lot of people can catch me there. So if you start up on Twitter and just go and find the Radio Maniac. Now, the main page, my main Spreaker page, GJRB Online Network, has the rundown of all the sites that you can catch me on, like Twitter and Facebook. And other places. Now, this show is also available, and I think for sure, I'm not sure, but I know I have a couple of shows that are on Spotify, and I do have a show over on where else? I'm on Spotify, and I'm also on I think Google, but I'm not sure. Hey, all right, the Caramel Conservative is in. Good afternoon, good sir. And yeah, on the road listening. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thank you so much, and welcome aboard. Yeah, I've been kind of missing your show, and I know that you're starting something new, and I think that's absolutely fabulous. So let me know what Saturday you are going to be on, and I won't schedule a show. Because I know a lot of times I do the Gary Russen program Saturday Extra, and I don't know. That would mean that we'd probably be on at the same time. So, not to counteract, like I said before, I like to, you have a good show, and I really, you're act to follow, to be on at the same time as you, man. Ooh, that's stiff competition, no doubt about it. So, but
You never know. It might work. I don't know. We could. You know what I ought to do? And I was thinking about this last night when you were talking about your new schedule. Maybe what I ought to do one Saturday is just to call you when you're on the air and just be on your show. I think that would be kind of cool. And make it, just kind of get on there for a little while. I think that would be kind of cool. Not that good. I'm not that good. Well, like I said, man, you get some numbers, you get some numbers, you get some listeners. I, for sure would not be getting any listeners that day because everybody, hey, he's tuned into the Caramel Conservative, man. Anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in this afternoon. Glad you could stick with me. We got some interesting news stories to talk about, including this whole bit with President Trump. I'm thinking first Saturday of the month at noon. Yeah, that's not bad. Noon for 3 hours. And I follow you because I usually sometimes have jazz on that first Saturday. I usually have my best of jazz either recorded or I usually uploaded and scheduled as a pre-recorded show, or I would do it live at 3 o'clock after you got off. So that might work too. But maybe I'll try that some Saturday, maybe come in and join you on live. I'll call your show. That'd be kind of cool. Which I haven't called anybody's show yet. I've thought about calling Mike's a couple of times, just never did. It'd be kind of a hoot. So, that would be awesome. Yeah. Well, let's see how that goes. Let me know when your first Saturday show is, and I will plan to make that a big deal. That'd be kind of fun, and be part of that. Starting by getting into your chat room, let you know I'm there, and then from that point, I'll call. That'd be fun, and we could talk because I never really, like I said, never talked to you on the air from your show. So, but you called me once, and I played that back on my best of show, but it's a lengthy conversation, so I only played about maybe 5-10 minutes of it because I had other segments that I wanted to do. But I did air that briefly on my best of year-end review, and that was pretty cool too. And we got a lot of really good things coming up today. I will be bringing you a lot of stuff. I've got some music, and along with that, I'll also talk about some interesting news stories that I have picked for today's program, and some interesting things that I want to bring across that we're going to talk about. Let's see, where am I? Facebook. I'm going to go to my Facebook for a minute here. I know when I do that, sometimes I skip online because I think that when I do maneuvers on Facebook, I try to work that out. But what happens is I get stuck once in a while, whenever I go into the internet while I'm on the air over here. But some interesting news stories that we're going to bring you here on GJRB Online. Some real interesting stories. Some of the stuff I had talked about earlier on the Saturday Extra, which I had on Podbean, but that I'm having trouble with at this point. I don't know what I'm going to do about Podbean just yet, but I'm working on that. We lost Terry Jones, Monty Python co-founder. I'll talk about that coming up. That mysterious coronavirus is diagnosed. Got a lot of people really sick in foreign countries. And this story really blew my mind. I don't know if anybody ever heard of Dave Olney, O-L-N-E-Y, Dave Olney. He died on stage in the midst of his concert. Died on stage. And we'll talk about that. That's kind of a sad story there, the way that happened. I mean, that would flip anybody out, but, that's what happened on stage. He died on stage. So we'll talk about that all coming up here on GJRB Online. The Gary Russen program, midweek edition here on Spreaker. Thanks a lot for tuning in from our GJRB Spreaker studios on Clinton's North End. Bring you the best in internet talk radio, GJRB Online.
here on Spreaker. So thank you so much for tuning in. And we're going to bring you our weather on the 5s right now. Get ready for that. I had the National Weather Service up on my phone, but then I lost it. So we're going to go over here because I got other things I want to do yet. And I hope you'll stay with me throughout the afternoon here on GJRB Online on Spreaker, my 9-foot closed-circuit signal Talk FM 108, KGRLP FM. 9-foot closed-circuit around the Spreaker studios. You can hear us on the FM dial. And it's always fabulous when you get that. All right, now
a nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's Weather on the 5.
And we have an interesting weather situation going on. I think we're going to get some more snow. We're supposed to here in Clinton, Iowa, get another round of snow. We're supposed to get snow squalls over the next couple of days. And they're saying that there's another storm system out west. And northwest is going to be affecting the Midwest weather. And they're saying some more snow is going to fall here in the next few days. We'll get a look on that weather forecast coming up throughout the afternoon. Weather on the 5s, 25 and 55 past the hour on all talk shows. And 25, 45 on music shows like the Positive Rock Show, Twin Spin Tuesday, which we got coming up, our Christian rock, our Positive Rock shows, and our other great music shows, including the Good Times Great Oldie Show and Back to the 80s. It's 25, 45. Weather on the 5s right here on GJRB Online. And we got a lot of really good stuff coming up, and we got a lot of music. I'm going to bring back some good stuff here, so we're going to have a good time this afternoon. So I hope you'll join me today, and we're going to Ed Delgado in the chat room, and maybe you too can join me here in the Spreaker chat room, and we'll talk a lot about some interesting news stories today. And, get into all this stuff of this trial with Trump. Is a very interesting thing going on, and we'll get into that. And let's see other things that are going on here that we're going to be talking about in the next few minutes here on GJRB Online. So I hope you'll stay with me, the Gary Russen program. And we have a lot of really good things going on, and you're welcome to be part of the program here on GJRB Online. I might even see if we can get some people call in. Let's see what we can do there. And, of course, when we get callers, I usually skip a break. That usually means that when I get call-ins, I do not do like the other talk shows do. You know the ones I'm talking about? The ones that, coming against a hard break. Although I like to say that once in a while. Coming against a hard break, hold that. Sometimes people just don't like to hold that up against a heartbreak. You know what I mean? Sometimes that can be a little annoying. But we'll talk about that. We got a lot of really good stuff coming your way here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker. Gary J. Russen with you here on online, and I hope you'll stay with me throughout the afternoon for some great news and talk. And it's cold outside, but not too bad today here in Clinton, Iowa. I think we're going to get above zero finally. But it's still somewhat cold out there. And I'll give you all that lineup on that weather coming up. We'll do another weather on the 5s at around 5 till. And I'll give you a rundown on all that weather forecast here. And you can join me right here on GJRB Online. Let's take a look at some of the news stories we're covering for you in the GJRB Newsroom this afternoon from the GJRB News Desk. Talking about that news story, Jeff Bezos' phone. They're going to conduct an investigation because Jeff Bezos' phone was hacked by a, and I'm not sure exactly, they say by a Saudi. And then the President Trump's impeachment trial goes on today, and prosecution's first. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said in a message today that Graham, he argues that the Democrats pushed to the House for witnesses demanding a Senate, but the court fight would be risked. We'll have all these stories coming up close to the top of the hour, bottom of the top of the clock to keep you on top. GJRB Online News. I'm Gary J. Russen at the GJRB News Desk.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land. Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them, help them. And if it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. Your call will be answered by a trained counselor in a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help.
Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.MeWe.com. That's M-E-W-E. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site.
End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end-time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB.
Whether it's baseball, basketball, hockey, even bowling, it's covered on Gary J's Sports page. I'll talk about what's going on in the world of sports all over the USA. We'll read you interesting articles about the players and even keep up with the scores of the games going on live. I'll even have guests from time to time and just talk sports. Better than any newspaper page, it comes alive. Gary J's Sports page.
Join me for Sports Page at a brand new time, alternating Saturdays at noon on GJRB.
There's a problem on our roads today, and that is the safety of our children boarding and getting off the bus on busy roads. That problem is drivers who don't stop for a school bus when the arm is out, the lights are flashing, and the stop sign is out, leaving kids in danger of getting hit. Violators of this law could get a suspension of their driver's license and a $250 fine. When you see a school bus stop at a corner, letting off kids, stop 25 feet away from the bus. Don't take that chance. A public service announcement from the National Highway Safety Administration and GJRB Online.
All right, I'm back. You like that music? That's the new music. Excuse me. Here we go. Didn't have enough time. The new music I'm going to be using for the new GJRB Spreaker, actually my Spreaker Podbean shout-outs and promotions. That's the new music that I'm picking for that particular feature. How about that? Listen to this. This is awesome, man. Let's take it from the Podbean mixer. That's what it is. Kind of dedicate that out there to Ed Delgado, the Caramel Conservative, man. I want to be playing this kind of music, man, because you got me into it. You got like jamming here, man. Awesome. Yeah. Such is called Live Your Dreams. I like the title of that. Had to quickly change batteries in my FM transmitter for some apparent reason. Batteries died out. I don't know. I got these cheaper AAA batteries, which an FM transmitter takes, and what happens is the batteries die faster. And I don't know. It's the kind of batteries it is. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's the kind of batteries that I'm dealing with here. And it has a tendency to die out faster. Don't know why. It's just amazing. Glad you can be back. Gary J. Russen with you here on GJRB Online, the GJRB Online Network. And we're bringing you the Gary Russen program, midweek edition, Wednesday afternoon. We have a great show lined up for you. I'll try to be back here on Friday, too, as well, with my Freestyle Friday edition. That's when the shoestrings are loose, and we kind of make things a little looser, and we make things more interesting. And you're welcome to be part of the program. Thanks a lot for tuning in. The Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra, here on GJRB Online, will be on Saturday. Although I do not know. Now, I'm going to be on Saturday with a Saturday Extra this week, which will be the 25th, I believe. And now I play phone tag with Ben Osman consistently. And what it is I understand he has another job that, sometimes takes him away on Saturdays. He sometimes can't always be here Saturday. I get that. You got to make some money. But the thing about it is the situation that lies here is the fact that when this happens, I'm kind of like out, and I have to have backup material to cover me if he can't make a show. Now, last week I was doing my show, not here, but on my Podbean station, WGJR Worldwide. And I'll be doing that. I'm going to rotate this show, and I'll be mentioning that on my Schedule Update podcast, which I'm working on. It's a podcast video. I'll be putting that video on my GJRBTV YouTube channel. So subscribe to that and hit that notification bell. And you'll get notified when we do that live podcast, live video. It's going to be a live video. I was going to do it recorded, but I think I'm going to make it a live video. I just have to write down all the stuff I want to say, in notes, and let people know that what I got planned for the broadcast, how the broadcast is going to work out, and show you the schedule graph that I'm working on. And a lot of my programs I'm trying to get a lot of my shows, on more than once a month. Some of them might not be, but I'm working on a pretty good schedule, and I think it's going to work real good. I do. I think it's got some potential. I really do. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So we're going to talk about that coming up a little later on, the schedule graph. But I got some interesting stories, so I want to pass those along to you while we're doing that, and do that. Let's see. I'm going to go to my Facebook page on my. Let me see if I can get on there, and let's see. We can fix this up here. All right. I'm going to have to get out of this, so I can get in my Facebook page on here. Otherwise, I'll have to go in there. Let's see. I have a stylus, and I leave it across the room. Why do I do that? I don't know. Let's see. Why don't we start with some of the interesting stories I was just talking to you about earlier. Let's see. Why don't I go into some of the stories I'm covering here for you? I'm going to go out of this, and I'm going to go into my news break. It's an app I use called Newsbreak. Absolutely fabulous app. I like it. I like the way it's lined up. It'll save your stories for you if you hit save. And I can pick all my stories that are notified. I get notified of stories. And I can pick the stories that I want to use on the air by picking the... It's really neat. I really like it. And it's a pretty good story. But talking about this earlier, this comes out of that coronavirus And already in China, the death toll on this has raised up to 440 people. 9 people are dead in China as several Asian countries are struggling on the blunt spread of this newly identified coronavirus. Deputy Director of the National Health Commission, Le Bin, told reporters Wednesday that the number of cases have risen to 440, and that all the deaths have occurred in Hubei province, according to the Associated Press. Dozens of cases have been identified. Other major Chinese cities include Beijing, Shanghai, and I can't pronounce this one. Let's see if I can play it. Guangzhou. Pronounce that. 5 cases have been identified outside the country, including Japan, Thailand, South Korea, Taiwan, and the United States. So this is a pretty nasty virus. You know, you got to wonder what this is going to turn into if they all, nip it in the bud for the beginning. If this is going to turn into some kind of, case that we don't want to think about. Good grief. What would happen if that turns into it? But they're saying that this virus, they say a man in Washington, now there's a man in Washington state who was the first person in the U.S. to have the confirmed case of this virus. The Centers of Disease Control said on Tuesday that the 30-year-old man had recently traveled to Wuhan, China, where it was first identified. This virus was first identified. He's in good condition, though, currently hospitalized out of an abundance of caution for the short-term monitoring by the CDC. It's still unclear how the virus has spread between people. Symptoms include fever, cough, and trouble breathing. To prevent this further spread, the CDC will screen passengers from Wuhan, W-U-H-A-N, Wuhan, who are arriving in the international airports Atlanta and Chicago. The screenings began last week at the international airports in New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. So they're screening, and they're going to make sure that people coming into the country aren't going to be, catching this disease. This is not good. So you have to wonder how many people are going to get sick here, and I'm sure they're going to screen it properly. They're not going to, they're going to make sure that that everybody's going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't mess around with these kind of diseases. This is no game. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna keep an eye on this story and a whole lot more. Hope you'll stay with me. Coming up, I got some more stuff, including some celebrity deaths. We lost a member of the original comedy, British comedy, Monty Python. We're going to talk about that. And a whole lot more coming up as we take this break. We got a lot more stuff coming your way as we continue the Gary Russen program midweek edition right here on GJRB Online, right here on Spreaker. We'll be right back.
You hear great jazz on GJRB with the best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, smooth jazz, and smooth afternoon. If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming, and programming in other great music formats, like blues, urban, including rap, also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, you get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA. Listen and enjoy.
Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.MeWe.com. That's MEWE. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radioland. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else.
Hey, alright, it's Kip Casper.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
Okay, welcome back to the Gary Russen program, midweek edition here on Spreaker across America on GJRB Online, and glad you could be with me today for some great internet talk radio. I got in and out of here probably because I think he's doing some work. Is the Caramel Conservative, Ed Delgado's in the chat room. Welcome aboard. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you'll stay with me today, in and out today. And I know that when you're doing work, you probably have to leave. So I'm going to turn that off. And, of course, like I said before, I'm just having fun here as usual, playing and talking and doing all that good stuff that I love doing on this radio program. And just enjoying it. And I hope you'll stay with me for the fun talk radio that we do midweek, the midweek edition of the Gary Russen program. And coming up next hour, we'll do our news and comment. Got some more interesting stories. And, of course, I do news stories all throughout this show because this is GJRB's original news talk program, the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. This is our midweek edition where we kind of let it loose a little bit and just have a little bit of fun with the show. And, see who's out there listening today. And sure as it is, glad you could be part of the program. And tuning into the program is always a fun thing. Going to stop the automation on my 9-foot side because I sometimes will do that if what I want to do isn't going to work out. So I just kind of start putting that manually, especially if I run off schedule. But anyway, glad you could be with me today. I hope you'll stay with me. Sometimes when I do a live show like this, freestyle, midweek edition, usually sometimes I don't do it as tight with the automation. So I just kind of shut the automation off and do it manual because I want to sometimes decide to do something different. But just stay with me. All right. Tell you what, I'm going to talk about some more news, and we're going to continue this. Stories that we are following this afternoon here on GJRB Online. Let's see here. Oh, yes, Joe Biden. Yeah. He says he wants to stop the detention centers at the borders. Yep, Joe Biden wants to, this is, once again, the leftist agenda is at hand here. Once again, imagine that. But here we are. This is how they're going to continue to do this. Crazy Joe at his very best, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta tell you, this guy just doesn't quit. To do here's a mix. I do that whenever I have a story coming out with audio. Joe Biden stating that in an interview he states in an interview that the interviewer asked him this: how exactly would you detain immigrants, if at all, in the Biden administration? Joe Biden said, quote, "The way we did it when we reformed the system, the DACA, I would not retain them behind bars. They show up. No, here's what they do. They show up. Sometimes you have an ankle bracelet. You set the now, what this has to do with the ankle bracelet, but okay. You set a hearing. We have to surge. They have to surge, and we have to surge to the border in areas where they're going to be held of all cages." So, well, there's a piece of that interview. This is an interview with Joe Biden, and let's see. Oh, the media's not playing. Darn blasted. Okay, whatever the case. Anyway, I don't know where this has to do with an ankle bracelet, but he says, set a hearing. We have to surge. We have to surge to the border, to the areas where we are being held. Get rid of all the cages. Everybody out of prison. Be in a position where if the most you put on ankle is an ankle bracelet, okay, and you give a date, you're gonna show up. Stammers for immigration hearing, and they show up. Is that for children, adults? That's what the interviewer asked. Is that for children, adults, and children? Biden says across the board. No deterrence, no vetting. Everyone that hops the fence is free to enter. Yep. Whoever hops the fence is free to enter, according to Joe Biden. Yep. He says it's okay for them to come over here and overflood our borders. So maybe we could just ask the family members of Maria Fuentes about that. That's right. We can't. She is a 92-year-old who was raped and murdered by an illegal alien, and the cops released without notifying ICE. Meanwhile, Trump has dealt with this detention issue by arranging for wannabe migrants to await their processing outside our borders, so they will not be obligated to limit their freedom to travel as interest risk to the greater population, and it seems to be working nicely. We might remind you that Trump offered Nancy and Chuck a chance to explore real solutions to this border crisis, but they refused to come to the bargaining table. Even DACA was up to negotiations, but no, they like the crisis. They think it will turn red states purple for them, and that's a recipe for potential power. To hell, what is the intended consequences might be. And you have to wonder. This is the left-wing agenda once again at work. They want them to come in here and be free if all possible. God forbid, we hold them back and detain them. Even though they're going to come over to our borders and rape our women and rape our older people, I mean, they're just inviting more of the drug cartel to come over here. So this is what they want. This is it. This is what we're stuck with, folks. I'm telling you, it's pathetic, and it's just a grim reminder of the power struggle we have in this country. I'm telling you, it really is pathetic. Really is. And we're going to continue talking about that throughout the afternoon here on GJRB Online, the Gary Russen program midweek edition. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Let's take a look at our weather.
Nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's weather on the pop.
Hey, let's take a look at some of the temperatures across America. 61 degrees and fair now in Los Angeles, California. Salem, Massachusetts checking in at 35 degrees with sunshine. North Platte, Nebraska is 47 degrees and fair. Paducah, Kentucky, 35 degrees with sunshine. 55 degrees with rain in Houston, Texas right now. And Fairbanks, Alaska is 10 degrees below zero. That's there. Mateo, North Carolina, 45 degrees. Provo, Utah, 39 degrees. It's kind of warmer up that way. 47 degrees in Portland, Oregon, and cloudy skies. Billings, Montana is checking in, 47 degrees, partly cloudy. Dallas, Texas, 43 with rain. And Port St. Lucie, Florida, 61 degrees. Yeah, Port St. Lucie. Yeah, they're getting some nice weather up there. Port St. Lucie, Florida, 61 degrees and cloudy. Truckee, California, over there by Lake Tahoe, 42 degrees and mostly cloudy skies. Charleston, South Carolina, checking in at 52 degrees under sunny skies. So we're looking at some real good, pretty good weather for those people down south. Nice to know. Just, nice to know. And we'll have another weather update coming up at about 25 after 4 with Weather Nation, our good people up there at Weather Nation. They give you all the good weather. We'll take a look at some of the weather activity going on there. And when we do weather on the 5s, we usually do it just a trifle bit early when we do the weather on the 5s at the 4:25. It's around 4:25 when we're doing Weather Nation because I need to bounce up against that hard break at 4:30. So that's why I do that. And of course, another weather update at that point from Weather Nation. And of course, we got some more good stuff coming up after 4:35. We'll have 15 minutes of nonstop talk and music, and I hope we can get some more people in here at that point. Weather on the 5s, 25 and 55 past the hour. This is the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online.
Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.mewe.com. That's MEWE. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site.
America's Street Music is back on GJRB Bluegrass with the Grassgolds, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, and on more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle, with all the great songs you heard before, and some new up-and-coming stars with some emerging bluegrass. Also, some all-time gospel favorites too.
On GJRB.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land.
The blues, the primary start to rock and roll music, the music in which artists express their feelings through music. This is a new blues show featuring the best of the blues, with new emerging artists getting their thrill of hearing their selections played along with the greats like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and Etta James, along with a whole lot more.
The doors open soon.
To the Blues House on GJRB. Yeah, the Blues House will be back on the air real soon. We're going to do this mostly at the bottom of the month, but I'm going to be making sure I can put in some shows in empty, open spots so that we can have that show on more often, even if it's a voice track pre-recorded. I got some great blues stuff, and I love to play it for you. The Blues House, right here on GJRB Online, and that's usually the last Saturday of the month at 3 o'clock p.m. Central Standard right here on Spreaker on GJRB Online. So tune in for that, man. All right, it is now 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, and you're listening to the Gary Russen program, midweek, semi-freestyle, over the hump day edition. You know, just too bad. You know, I always had that over the hump day. You know that one commercial where they have that camel? Gotta get that track from that. You know, what day is this? What day is this? What day is this? Yeah. Gotta get a hold of that camel one of these days and, I don't know, pay him the appropriate thing for voice tracking. I don't know. Just gotta do that anyway. Anyhow, Yeah, that's what we're doing right now, the Gary Russen program, midweek edition, over the hump day edition, right here on GJRB. Yeah.
From America's heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa.
And from the GJRB News Desk, I'm Gary J. Russen. Some of the stories we're covering for you this hour from the GJRB News Desk. We talked about this earlier. Joe Biden wants to open the borders and let them all in. Yeah, imagine that. The mysterious coronavirus diagnosed in a lot of foreign countries at this point. Talk about that. The trial going on for President Trump's impeachment. We got stories coming up, and I like Senator Lindsey Graham, what he said. We're going to talk about that. Lindsey Graham talking about how he thinks that the Democrats didn't do it right. Talk about that coming up. Along with that, the news stories that we find interesting coming up this hour. And this is GJRB in the Gary Russen program, and this is News and Comment. Top of the hour, a little past that, 4:01 Central Standard Time here on GJRB Online on Spreaker. I'm Gary J. Russen in the GJRB News Desk. President Trump's impeachment trial is in the news today, and Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says that somehow it's just not done right. He had a message to the people in the Senate.
You got an uphill battle with me. Because I really do believe that the best person, group of people to pick a president are the voters, not a bunch of partisan politicians.
Imagine that. He stated that he argues that the Democrats didn't push in the House for the witnesses that they're demanding in the Senate because from the Senate, and they said now it could just cause a court fight. And they don't want to risk the impeachment trial being delayed until after the election. Well, we can't have that, because you know what that means, don't you? It means President Trump will be reelected and they lose. Oh, we can't have that one now, can we? Yeah. It's just true. And this is their agenda. They do not want to lose by all means. They don't. Meanwhile, the story I was covering earlier that I thought was interesting, but yet funny, I don't know. It might be or might not be funny, depending on how you see it. But Jeff Bezos, I guess anyway, Jeff Bezos' phone was hacked. His phone was hacked. Here's a report now from Fox.
Jeff Bezos' cell phone was hacked after he received a file sent from the Saudi Crown Prince's number. The experts describing the alleged hack as an effort to influence reporting on Saudi Arabia in Bezos' newspaper, The Washington Post. It's said to have happened a few months before Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi was killed by Saudi agents. Saudi Arabia calling the allegations absurd. Simon Owen, Fox News.
And you have to wonder why it took so long for them to figure that one out. I mean, his phone was hacked. I mean, it took them long enough to figure that one out. Anyhow, this one really blew my mind, and I really think that this is really downright cruel and unusual punishment, whatever you call it. I know it's a bank, and I know they got rules, but, sometimes you have to bend them to help somebody. An Oregon woman was fired from her bank job at U.S. Bank in Oregon for helping a guy get home to his family on Christmas. Emily James worked as a senior banker at a U.S. Bank call center in Portland, and she received this call from a customer last month whose paycheck had been placed on hold, according to the Oregonian paper. James worked to help Mac Eugenio, a Clackamas resident, get access to more than $1,000 that should have been his in the first place, in his account, before telling him to go to this local bank and and the next day and get money to clear with the manager. Well, the following day, it was Christmas Eve, and there was no one there to help him. Devastation, right? He called he called a 1-800 number from a gas station there. And according to the report, he was stranded with no money to fill his gas tank to get home. He requested to speak to James, who explained what had happened. And before adding that, I wish I had just $20 to get home. Well, James realized how close the man was and decided to act on it. Eugenio told the paper that the woman from the call center told him to wait for help, and as she just had a few minutes away. So she went out and gave him the money. She gave him money to fill up his gas tank. Well, he handed him money, $20, and said Merry Christmas, and of course drove out. She received permission from her supervisor to do this, right? Well, later on down the line, it turns out on December 31st, she was informed by the service manager that her job was terminated because she unauthorized the interaction with a customer. James told the paper that her supervisor also was fired, although this was not confirmed. In the statement in the New York Post, the spokesperson explained that James was fired because after putting herself and the cash in the bank at risk. Okay, so she put herself in the bank out at risk. At U.S. Bank, they have policies, according to James. Miss James was terminated following the internal investigation into her interactions with the customer. During that review, it was determined that Miss James did not use the available solution remedy, the customer solution, and instead put herself at risk and the bank at risk for her actions, helping somebody out. So what was this risk? Yeah, I'd like to know that. What other available solutions were for this remedy? This man wanted to get home to his family. Well, anyway, Eugenio kind of felt bad that James lost her job trying to help him. James seemed to not mind after seeing how the solution was handled. I think this quote, quoting James, I don't think I would want to continue to work for someone who would do that, she's told to the Oregonian paper. Which I agree. Why the bank just didn't have a little leeway to help this woman out is another story in itself. I think that was kind of like downright cruel, if you want to call it that the bank couldn't stretch out just a little bit to help somebody who wanted to get home for Christmas. Again, it's the evil thing, let's not help people. So there you go. Imagine that. Got that story coming up. We got a lot more stuff coming up here on GJRB Online. This is the Gary Russen program, midweek edition, and thank you for tuning in. And let's get the closing stock market report for today. We're going to do that right now on Wednesday's trading and see what's going on in the closing stock market report. Then coming up, we'll have our I don't think we have any celeb birthdays today that I know of, or any birthdays on our Spreaker. I'll check here in a minute. I think there is somebody. But the Dow Jones Industrial Average today closed down. The Dow Jones Industrial 9.77. The NASDAQ up 12 points. And the S&P up 0.96 points. And this is GJRB News. I'm Gary J. Russen, and this is News and Comments here on GJRB Online. Got some more stuff coming up. I hope you'll stay with me. Got more stories coming up, including the story about that one singer-songwriter who died on stage. That's coming up next on the Gary Russen program, midweek edition. Watch. Pray. For you not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy. New World Order. Terrorism. Economic collapse. Wars. Pandemics. Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. And you're listening to the Gary Russen program, midweek edition, here on GJRB Online, and I hope you'll stay with me throughout the afternoon. We got some more interesting stories for you, and we'll have our news and comment continuing here on GJRB Online here on Spreaker, and have some more stories for you. Meanwhile, let's talk about this story. This is interesting. A singer-songwriter. Now, I never heard of this guy. His name is David Olney. 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 He's a Nashville singer. He died on stage after he apologizes to the crowd in the audience and then closes his eyes. It's like, this would you imagine being at a concert with this guy singing, right? Suddenly he stops in the middle of a song and apologizes and dies right there. Nashville singer-songwriter David Olney, O-L-N-E-Y, I'm going to pronounce it Olney, died while performing on stage after he apologized to the crowd and closed his eyes. The 71-year-old Nashville artist suffered an apparent heart attack during a performance January 18th. January 18th, which was like about a few days ago, at the 30A Songwriters Festival in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. There was a doctor in the audience who assisted in the effort to revive him, but only did not respond. Amy Rigby, an artist who had been performing alongside Olney, shared the news on Facebook. Olney, a beautiful man, quote, David Olney, a beautiful man, a legend, songwriter, poet, died last night. Olney was in the middle of his third song when he stopped to apologize and shut his eyes. Quote, he was very still, sitting upright with his guitar on, wearing the coolest hat and a beautiful rust suede jacket. He laughed about because it was raining like hell outside the boathouse where he was playing. I just want the picture to be as graceful and dignified as it was, because it was the first. It was at first looked like he was just taking a moment. Wow. She added that it's hard to post about that because I can't really believe he's gone, and I'm sorry for his wife and his family and his friends and all the people who loved him and his music, even those who never heard of him. I never heard of him. I'd have to kind of associate him with a song he might have written. Not sure exactly who he is. Earlier in the day, Olney was recording. Olney was recording singing at a 30-minute acoustic interlude session with a local radio station there, WUWF 88.1, probably a public community station. He was on the radio there, acoustic interlude. He's from Rhode Island. He's a Rhode Island native. He helped broaden the horizon for American roots music throughout his 5-decade career, for which he spent most in Nashville since arriving in 1973. His discography is more than 20 solo albums, with 2018's This Side or the Other, his most recent. He also received high praise for his song Deeper Well, which was recorded by Emmylou Harris in her Grammy Award-winning 1994 album Wrecking Ball. Olney's official website referred to him as, and they decided to put something on top of my screen. I hate when they do that. I want to go back down to where I left off. Let's try it again. The website referred to him as a key member of Nashville's music community since his move to Music City in 1973. So David Olney, if anybody knows who he is or maybe what song he might have written, I don't know. I'll check out that Emmylou Harris and see if I can find that recording. But died right there on stage. Imagine being at a concert when someone dies on stage like that. He was 71. David Olney. Wow, that's sad. Really is. That's terrible. And then meanwhile, we lost another comedic actor, Terry Jones. He was the co-founder of Monty Python's Flying Circus. You know, everybody knows what that is. British comedian. Died. He's a fabulous. I was not that big on British comedy, but some of Monty Python stuff was funny. Terry Jones, founder of the Monty Python, beloved comedian, screenwriter, film director, and poet historian, died at the age of 77. He was suffering from dementia, which was revealed publicly by his son Bill, and in September 2016 he left him unable to speak. So he wasn't able to speak there. Terry Jones's family said in the statement, quote, "We are deeply saddened to have announced the passing of his beloved husband and father. Terry passed away on the evening of 21 January 2020 at the age of 77. And his wife, Anna Soderstrom, by his side. Along extremely brave but always good humored battle with rare form of dementia, FTD. So he suffered from a rare form of dementia. Over the past few days, his wife, extended family, and many others were close at hand and consistently with Terry as he greatly slipped away in his home in North London. And we have lost a kind, funny, warm, creative, and truly loving man whose uncompromising individuality, relentless, intelligent, and extraordinary humor given pleasure to countless millions across the 6 decades. So we lost. He was a comic actor. He was, I guess. Like I said, I've seen him. I'm not familiar with some of the parts he might have done with Monty Python. All I know is that skit with the spam. That's pretty much all I know from Monty Python. But anybody who is into Monty Python, drop into the chat room and let me know about some of the other Monty Python bits that he might have done, because I'm not quite sure of some of that. Anyway, sad to hear him go, though. Comedic actor like that. And apparently lost his life at the age of 77. He had a rare, severe form of dementia, which I think caused a lot of his issues. And sad to hear him leave. He was a great man, and well missed. That's for sure. By his family and friends. Coming up, I got some more interesting stories for you. The Gary Russen Program Midweek Edition. We had, from the very beginning, starting gate of the show, we had the Caramel Conservative, Ed Delgado, in the chat room. I don't know if he's in here anymore. but he was here earlier. Let's take a look at some weather here. Seattle, Washington right now checking in with 50 degrees today. Tonight's going to be 47 with rain. More rain, 54 degrees for Seattle, Washington. We'll have the weather on the 5s coming up here real shortly with Weather Nation. So stay with me here on GJRB Online. Coming up on the other side of the hour, got some more great conversation for you. 50 minutes of total nonstop talk on the way here on GJRB Online. So stay tuned for that. Weather on the 5s. And I always love doing weather on the 5s. And giving you an update on national weather. Get you a top of what's going on nationwide weather. And then coming up on the other side, we got some more good stuff on the way here on GJRB Online. The Gary Russen program here on Spreaker. And thank you so much for tuning in. And if you want to get on the show and you just found us, and I will should post every hour. I'm making a program log. And that, because, today I don't have a printer yet. But once I do that, I'm going to have to put a reminder in my log to always post every hour to get more people listening. I got a tickle in my throat all of a sudden. I hate when that happens. So why don't we just, while I got tickle taken care of, and we're about 4 minutes away, we usually do weather on the 5s early so we can get that half-hour hard break in. So why don't we do that right now? Weather on the 5s at this time, right now.
Now, a nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's Weather on the 5.
And let's take a look at some current temperatures across the nation. 44 degrees in Billings, Montana right now. 33 degrees in Bismarck, North Dakota. 35 degrees in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. 34 in Omaha, Nebraska. 34 degrees in Chicago. 30 degrees in Detroit. 37 degrees New York City. Washington, D.C. is checking in with 39 degrees at this time. And let's take a look at some other places with weather. 43 degrees in Dallas, Texas. 57 degrees in Houston. We have 51 in New Orleans, Louisiana. 32 degrees in Des Moines. 35 degrees Kansas City. 39 degrees in Cincinnati, Ohio. 34 degrees in Cleveland. Tonight, expecting 31 degrees for Omaha, Nebraska. 32 degrees for Minneapolis, St. Paul. Bismarck's checking in tonight with 17. It'll be 18 degrees in Fargo. 29 degrees in Rapid City, South Dakota. And in tomorrow's high, expected to be as warm as 72 degrees and 74 degrees, 72 in Orlando, 74 in Miami, and 44 degrees in Spokane, Washington, 56 degrees in Sacramento, California. Let's take a look at the weather from Weather Nation, which should be coming out of board here, but okay, let me see why I'm not hearing Weather Nation. Okay, we're not hearing Weather Nation. Okay, so we're going to try to fix that issue here. Hold something there. Get something. Okay, well, I'm going to have to tell you what. I'm going to do Weather Nation. I want to move that anyway, and I'll tell you why. Because when I got that half-hour hard break at 4:30, that bumps up against it. And it makes it so that I can get out of it in time to do the hard break at the bottom of the hour. So with that in mind, I'm going to cancel Weather on the 5s from Weather Nation until 5 minutes before 5 o'clock. I think that's a better time. So I'm moving Weather Nation to 4:55 instead. Because it's toward the end of the last hour, and things are a little loose there, and it's within the midst of my 50 minutes of nonstop talking music anyway. So we're going to move the Weather Nation up a half hour so that I can make room for our regular hard break. And I do that for that reason, because I don't like having to miss up my hard break if I'm not out of it on time, because they go on and on and on, and I probably could cut them off, but I like to do the full weather forecast, so I do it that way. So we'll do another Weather on the 5s around 5 minutes before the hour. It's usually close to like about 4:51, maybe 4:52, and around there we'll do a Weather on the 5s just close to the top of the hour. I think that's a better place to put it. So I'm moving Weather on the 5s a half hour. Because that's what I do, because it's my program, right? And I can do that. All right. Meanwhile, that gives me a chance to preview what stories I got coming up in the next half hour here on GJRB Online. Hope you're enjoying the program, wherever you're listening. And let me see. I got 9 notifications on my Facebook, so I want to see who they are. Yeah, so sometimes it plays this stubborn game. Okay, I clicked that. Like, this is the 3rd time I click it. Okay, Spreaker posting. Okay, Charlotte Thomas, and okay. Eastern Tennessee continues to rattle. It looks like Tennessee, we got that story coming up. Here's another interesting one. Eastern Tennessee. And let me see if we can get in it. I think they're having earthquakes in Tennessee. Eastern Tennessee. Let's see if I can find that now. Go further down the line here. Okay, here we go. Where is that story now? Here we go. Eastern Tennessee continues to rumble with another 3rd earthquake, which was had struck this week. So we got that one coming up. Eastern Tennessee, another earthquake. We have that coming up next. We'll talk about that coming up. Along with that, let's see what else we got here in the next half hour of our program. This is Gary Russen program, midweek edition. We had Caramel Conservative at the beginning of the show. So I don't know if he's still here or if he disappeared. I know he's doing a lot of stuff with his job. So either that or he got out of the zone where he could get Wi-Fi or something. So he's probably not there. But we still do the show, and everybody's welcome to join in and listen to the on-demand podcast at the end of the show. And the show is always available for you after the show. And coming up, we'll have that and a whole lot more. Stay with me. This is the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online, the midweek edition. And I hope you're enjoying it wherever you're listening across the USA on Spreaker, where we have the all this neat stuff, and always enjoy putting on this program for you, and we have a good time. You know what I'm saying? So hope you'll stay with me for the best in internet radio here on GJRB Online, and this is where we have it here. Okay, and we'll have some more good stuff coming your way. Also coming up in this next half hour, we're going to crank up 50 minutes of nonstop talk. Coming up, nonstop talk and some music, and we'll have a few music break and see if there's anybody out there. We're gonna actually play music so that I can repost and see if there's anybody out there. But it was great having Ed Delgado in the first beginning segments of my show. And let's see if there's anybody else out there who would like to join in on the program. I usually will repost, let people know that I'm there. But if you're scrolling down your Facebook page and you see that we have it lit up there, and it'll give you a chance to contact. I'm going to do a scroll through social media coming up too as well, where I scroll through social media to find more stories and more postings that you posted on Facebook and also on Twitter. That's coming up, so stay with me for that. And we'll have all this good stuff coming your way here on GJRB Online. I'm Gary J. Russen with you. Hope you're enjoying the program. And coming up in GJRB News Desk, more news. Some of the stories we're covering for you today. Of course, President Trump's impeachment trial goes on board. His impeachment tops the story, and the prosecution is in first with the Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, not too happy, left a message for the House managers and talking about the impeachment trial, going over and rehashing. That's pretty much what it's about. And the nation's experts demanding an investigation into hacking of a cell phone belonging to Jeff Bezos. And he said it was linked to a Saudi who apparently had done that. We'll have that story and more stories, including heck with cell phones. They're going to come up with a new one now that will be implanted in your eye. I'm going to talk about that coming up. A whole lot more coming up. Keep in touch. GJRB Online. I'm Gary J. Russen. Way Out There, the Conspiracy Show, weekends on Talk FM 108.
Lead House impeachment manager Adam Schiff presenting the Democrats' arguments for President Trump's removal for
news on the hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.MeWe.com. That's M-E-W-E. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site.
Whether it's baseball, basketball, hockey, even bowling, it's covered on Gary J's sports page. I'll talk about what's going on in the world of sports all over the USA. We'll read you interesting articles about the players and even keep up with the scores of the games going on live. I'll even have guests from time to time and just talk sports. Better than any newspaper page, it comes alive. Gary J's sports page.
Join me for Sports Page at a brand new time, alternating Saturdays at noon on GJRB.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radioland. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland.
Coast to coast and way out there, fans. Listen up. If you like UFO conspiracies, ghosts, and the paranormal, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Spreaker's answer to Coast AM with more interesting guest experts in the paranormal and UFOs each month. If you like Way Out There, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Own the night with Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Nightly at 11 p.m. Central, 12 o'clock midnight Eastern, and 9 p.m. Pacific. On Spreaker, on Periscope, and on D-Talk Radio Network.
This is the station from North Clinton, giving you the best in music variety on the nation's top podcast platform. The greatest platform on the planet, Spreaker. This is GJRB Online, the GJRB Online Network. And we're back on the air here on GJRB Online. Gary J. Russen with you on the midweek edition of the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online as we crank up well over 50 minutes of non-stop talking music here on GJRB Online. So that means no more breaks, no further breaks on the program. We're going to be going straight non-stop for the next 50 minutes. So that means we got some more news, more talk, more interesting stories, and we're going to play music along the line too, so that I can take a little break with my voice and play some music and talk with, just having fun today, you know what I'm saying? And pick songs from my playlist. We play some new artists, some new music. I debuted some new stuff this past week with Gary J in the afternoon last week. And we want to promote some of those new songs. I have a new one by Gary Younger, Song Brother, and we got that coming up with a song called With You, My Love. I have really some new music, really some new stuff, so I hope you'll stay with me here on GJRB Online. And we got some really good songs coming up. And play something you might like. So stay tuned for that. Here on GJRB Online, I'll play some 21 Pilots, and I'll throw in some of that. Samuel Day, and he's got a new song. I haven't listened to it yet. So I need to review that for a possible show. We've got that on the way. And a whole lot more, so keep it here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker, the Gary Russen program. And so I thought, well, why don't we do that? Why don't we load a song on here? And new music on our GJRB list that we've been playing. Got a lot of new ones that I want to get on the air. And let's see what we got here. Been playing that one. Stop Time, played that one. Time to Live, which is getting slightly old. Trust in the Lord, Whiskey Talking's a good one. It's one of our newest ones. But I have a new one that we've been playing, debuting. And I don't remember what track number that is, though. Off Gary Unger. So why don't we play him later? We'll play him later. Just premiere a new song that we've been playing for quite some time. And it's going to go into my heavy list. Great song. Good friend of ours that we made friends with here on Spreaker. His name is Keith Brooks. This is a song called So Long Baby, Baby, Bye Bye. GJRB Online.
Deceiving many people whose advantage you take. Some may disagree and you put them down. One-sided slander you spread all over town. I got real tired of your conniving ways. Decided it was time, so I can't stay. I'll carry on without you another day. But here's what I'm saying. Look bad, so maybe they will see how you're always right, everybody else is wrong. Let somebody cross you up, you make sure they are gone. I got real tired of your conniving ways. Decided it was time that I can't stay. I'll carry on without you another day. And here's what I'm saying. So long, baby, baby, bye, bye. I say so long, baby, bye-bye. So long, baby, baby, bye-bye. Don't need you no more.
And that is an artist named Keith Brooks and So Long, Baby, Baby, Bye-Bye from our GJRB playlist. Gary J. Russen with you here on the Gary Russen program, midweek edition, as we start off our 50 minutes of nonstop talk and conversation and music and stuff like that. And more news. And let's see, we're just posting all over the place that we're doing that, and just mentioning the fact that we're going to be doing 50 minutes of nonstop talk and music. And I'm just going to empty that newscast because we are done. Usually on this show, when we do it on a Wednesday, I only do 2 newscasts. One will be the top of the hour, the bottom of the hour, half-hour break. And then I do one at the top of the hour, which is news and comment, some of the main stories, and also adding additional stories I find, and expanding it out as news and commentary throughout the show, because this is GJRB's original news talk program, the Gary Russen program midweek edition, the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. So I kind of make it so that everybody can, it's a freestyle show now. We're doing nonstop music and talk. So it's a combination of all that. And then I start posting on the sites again and see if we can get some responses. So I go into my Facebook page, my Spreaker public site, and keep on posting while I'm on the air. And it brought the last hour. It brought me Ed Delgado, the Caramel Conservative, and it was fabulous because we had him on for a while. But I think he's left. Has some probably some business going on. I know he had to work, and I know he probably goes home to his family and his fabulous family had there in Wisconsin. So it was nice to have him aboard there for just that little while. Absolutely fabulous indeed. And it's always a pleasure having him in the studio, or actually in the chat room. Maybe in the studio. He'd have to come here to Clinton, Iowa. And I don't know whether or not he'd know where that's at. It's, just above the Quad Cities. But last time I told him, I said, we'd do that because he's planning on doing a Saturday 3-hour show, first Saturday of the month. So I'm thinking about kind of shuffling the jazz that we do, the best of jazz, which we do at the top of the month, and put that. Of course, we do that show at 3:00 on a Saturday, the best of jazz. So I might make it so that I can maybe change the programming a little bit here on GJRB, and maybe simulcast the show right there on GJRB. And then go on live. It'd be pretty cool to try that. We might do that some week. So watch out for that. That'll be pretty wild. Anyhow, we're going to do that. That'll be cool. Kind of see what comes of that. And it'll be the first. And then right after he's over, then we would go and do our best of jazz. So it might be where we would have the jazz over on 88.9 as opposed to 106.7 with a rebroadcast on 106.7 later or something like that. Or we'll flip frequencies on the local side and then go on with the best of jazz on 106.7. Or I'll play jazz. I'll have jazz playing on 106.7. It will be Spreaker only. And then we'll flip over. So we'll try different ways. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, let's see. Never miss a headline. Okay, no thanks. I already am on there anyway, guys. So let's see. Why don't we go ahead and continue on with the Gary Russen program midweek edition. Got some interesting news headlines. So let's get back into it. Eastern Tennessee continues to rumble with their third earthquake reportedly struck same area in Tennessee this week. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, most recent quake registered at 2.4. It follows a 3.8 magnitude earthquake that struck on Monday, and its epicenter was in Fincastle, 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 Tennessee. Okay, Fincastle, Tennessee was reportedly felt across southern Kentucky. Then a 2.8 magnitude quake had struck at that same area Sunday. So interesting there that they had that quake. That was alarm set for me for my laundry, which I'll get later. But anyway, so I'm wondering what's going on there. So if anybody in that area of Tennessee is listening to this podcast, call up. As a matter of fact, I should open up my Skype. I'm going to go into my desktop real quick here and pull up that. I'm going to go to my desktop and pull up my Skype. I'm Gary Russen on Skype. You can find me there and call me up on Skype. Where is that stupid Skype now? Where's my S logo? There it is. And so I'm going to pull that up. I'll show available. Gary Russen on Skype. You can call me on there if you are from that area of Tennessee, and let me know about that. Let's see. Why is it taking forever for that to come up? Sometimes it reloads itself. Every once in a while, if I don't use it, I guess I have to reload it or something. I don't know exactly why, but that comes up like that. So let's see here. Probably didn't click it properly, perhaps. That could be it. I don't know, but we'll find out. Meanwhile, back at the jungle, I'm going to flip over to the Weather Nation people. They're still on the air with a weather alert. Viper's up. So this is, where's the southern, this is up here on the northwest part of the country around Seattle. And as soon as I get that Weather Nation hooked up, but where is my, should have done that during that song to pull that up. Now, let me see if I can. Okay. All right. So we're seeing that now. Okay. Weather Nation. I want to make sure their audio is not. Why the audio is not.
Enjoy a while it lasts, but rain is coming in. It's back out.
Okay, I know why. Because I turned down my main. That's real good. All right, that's a smart thing to do. Turn down your main, and that's what happens, see? All right. So we'll get Weather Nation coming up, but they're saying that some of the weather, some nasty weather down south in Montgomery and all that. We'll take a look at that later. Las Vegas, Nevada, right now, you guys are at 37 degrees on the dew point, 44% relative humidity, 63 expected for today for Las Vegas, Nevada. Thursday, January 23rd, that's tomorrow, 67. It's going to be 66 in Los Angeles. We'll take a look at that weather on the 5s coming up on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. The Gary Russen Program, midweek edition. Thanks a lot for tuning into the program here on GJRB Online on Spreaker. And this is where we have it. So I'm going to show myself available, active on Skype. So you can, if you are listening in the Tennessee area, in that area of Tennessee, and you want to get on the radio to talk about that earthquake, please do call in on Skype. Gary.Russen on Skype. And let me know where you're at in Tennessee, and we'll put you on the radio, and you can talk about it. 3.8. That's pretty strong for New Madrid fault line quake. Wow, that is strong for a minute. Yeah, that is. So we'll talk about that coming up. And on the the other side of 5 o'clock, got some more stuff coming up for you, and more news coming up for you as well. And we'll also check on birthdays. I don't think I have any at this point. Did have one yesterday. A friend of mine from grade school and high school, Mylene, had a birthday, so I wish her belated on the radio this afternoon. And you have a birthday you want to put on the radio, and you are a listener of this program, drop me your birthday in the email at GaryJ65@yahoo.com or GaryJ021361@gmail.com, or get a hold of me through my Spreaker and leave me a message. If you're listening to this as an on-demand podcast, just leave your birthday in the message, and I'll receive it through my email. My email will notify me I have a message on my side, so that if you have a birthday that you want to put on the air, if you're having a birthday, I will announce it right here on this program. Because I do that. I announce birthdays here, and give people a chance to have their birthday announced on the radio here on GJRB Online. And coming up next hour, we'll do our Spreaker shout-outs and promotions, our Spreaker Podbean shout-outs and promotions of all the great podcasters who are out there. And there's so many really good ones. And always enjoy doing this program and promoting all the great podcasters I follow. And I got that coming up. So stay tuned for that. And looking at our weather map, it looks like some of that low pressure system over coming across the United States there. So we'll be talking about that. We got Weather Nation on the way, and I think I finally fixed the Weather Nation, so we should be really good there, good to go. So we'll have that coming up in a couple of minutes here on GJRB Online. Like I said, we'll have our GJRB schedule update podcast and our podcast promotions. We'll have that coming up, our Spreaker Podbean podcast promotions, and we'll give you that information and tell you what's coming up on GJRB Online in the next week or so here as I start working on this, developing this schedule and making it work for us. As it's just one of those things that I'm, constantly working at, and let you know what's happening here on GJRB. As far as that's concerned, anyway. And getting close to the hour. So really close to the hour, so I'm going to be having weather on the 5s. But before I do, I'm going to do a local identification for our 9-foot signal listeners. This is the Gary Russen program on the GJRB Online Network. Getting close to the top of the hour, 5 minutes to the hour. It's 4:54 Central Standard Time, and it's 5:54 Eastern, and it's 2:54 Pacific. And you're listening to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online, the midweek edition. And we're moving our weather on the 5s up a half hour so that we can do the half-hour hard break at the bottom of the hour. Now, if we were to do 50 minutes of nonstop talk and music at 5 after the hour of 4, then we would do the weather on the 5s 25 after and skip that 4:30 hard break. I've done that before too, so I do various different kinds. But on Wednesdays, it's like I said, it's middle of the week, and we kind of just do half tight, half loose. In other words, it's just semi-freestyle, midweek, middle of the week edition of our program here on GJRB Online. And let's go ahead and get that started anyhow and see what's going on our weather.
Now, a nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's Weather on the 5.
Hey, let's do that right now. 47 degrees is tonight's low in Seattle, Washington. 49 is expected in Portland, Oregon. And San Francisco is going to be really cool. 48 degrees tonight, 42 in San Francisco, and 42 in Las Vegas, chilly for them. 53 for Los Angeles. Going south, 42 degrees Dallas, Texas, 57 in Houston. 50 degrees in New Orleans, Louisiana. 51 degrees in Orlando. 61 tonight in Miami, Florida. Going up north, 27 degrees in Washington, D.C., 28 degrees in New York City, and 26 degrees is expected in Boston. Going down, let's see what we have here. More low temperatures. 18 degrees expected tonight for Fargo. 29 degrees Rapid City, South Dakota. 28 degrees. And let's do it now. I think we finally might have fixed this still. Weather Nation right now.
Season. But it's going to be kind of a wet snowpack, not the coldest, driest snow that we have seen. So we have warm systems, kind of warmer weather systems that continue to come into the northwestern United States frequently right through the weekend, where each warmer event will bring us the possibility of some river flooding as those rivers stay swollen, but also it's going to keep the snow levels pretty high. So you have to go pretty high up in elevation to find snow. So the first storm system has already arrived. It continues to give us that rain to cascade and mountain snow, and that will continue through tomorrow. Then the next strongest one arrives on Friday night through Saturday. This one is going to be coming in with not much of a break behind it because a third one comes in, at least if you're looking from the first one now, all the way to the third one that is on Saturday and through Saturday afternoon. You can tell they're warmer weather systems because there aren't a lot of winter storm warnings. In fact, at this picture, none there. A few winter weather advisories to the high terrain of the Cascades and parts of northeastern Oregon. But instead, you have flood watches. These are in effect for Forks, Aberdeen, Seattle, Tacoma, for snow melt and new rainfall through Friday to swell the rivers even more. Some of those beyond bankful. So you want to monitor your local tributary and river, and remember not to drive through any flooded roads. So the leading edge of that snow moves into Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, eventually Missoula, Montana. In the higher terrain, you're going to get the most snow, but otherwise we'll change over to a light rain mix in the lower valleys tonight. And temperatures supportive of mainly rain. Spokane down to 36, 33, Missoula. Boise will be at 37 degrees, 47 tonight in Seattle, so staying pretty mild out there. Thursday begins with some rain, snow mix, eastern Washington, more so rain than snow. And then we have another slug of rain that comes into the Pacific coastal range tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures mid-50s, pretty mild for late January, and even Wyoming's in the mid-30s to mid-40s, so it's not terribly cold there. Then by Friday, the mountain snow pushes across Idaho, eventually a little bit into Wyoming and Montana, kind of dries out, but then late Friday our next biggest system arrives, and temperatures here are still pretty mild. One quick glance at Saturday's weather system that is going to bring us mainly rain, the first of a couple there for the weekend. That's a lot of green and yellow on the map for late January in the Pacific Northwest. Again, not a lot of snow, at least you have to go up high in elevation where temperatures will even be in the 30s and 40s in the mountains into Wyoming. So the rain and snow still yet to come. Of course, it does pile up in the highest of terrain. Go above about the 7,000 feet elevation, you'll get that. But anywhere from 3 to as much as 5 inches of rainfall closer to the coast at the lower elevations. Jackson, Wyoming, not bad, 20s to 30s. Hoping to stay snow for you at the ski resorts, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, even a little bit mild for all snow. So you get down to Ojai, California. You're going to switch gears to get an update on our southwestern regional forecast, where Chris is standing by with a beautiful picture there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice for us here in California after a cloudy, unsettled few days. It's active further east in the Four Corner states, where we're still looking at some lingering snow showers out here. But for our friends in Southern California, ooh, Sign me up. That looks nice. And by the way, temperatures going to be rising to near 80 degrees there in Ohio and throughout lower elevations in Southern California. So it stays active for us across the Southwest, but the activity is going to be mainly confined to the four corner states. That'd be, again, higher terrain in Utah and Colorado, maybe even northern New Mexico, still seeing some snow showers, but even that should clear up by your day tomorrow. So it's a short-term activity bout for us with some snow showers in western Colorado and parts of Utah, far northern California, seeing some cloud cover and some rain showers as well as we get into your day tomorrow. It's still just northwest Colorado. We're seeing a little bit of snow activity up by the Gores, the Parks, and the Medicine Bow ranges of north central and northwestern Colorado, maybe even the flat top, seeing some of that snow out there as well. Low temperatures into your Thursday morning, January the 23rd. Well, it's going to feel like it's Thursday morning, January the 23rd, with low temperatures in the 20s and 30s into the four corner states. It's actually fairly typical for this time of year. And then further west, actually a little bit milder than average for us in Southern California. Low temperature of 53 for our friends in LA. I am jealous of you. High temperatures for your Thursday, near 50 for us in Denver, near 70 in Las Vegas, 71 into Phoenix, and 73 into LA. Most of what you're seeing here into the southwest is running a couple degrees above average. Same for us in Salt Lake City and Denver. We're closer to about 5 degrees above average, while here we're closer to about 7-8 degrees above average in Nevada, Arizona, and California. So most of us trending on the milder side of things, but we'll enhance that a little bit as we get later on through the weekend to the start of the week. I'll show you that in more detail in just a second. The thing to watch out for, though, as we get into your Thursday night, will be another round of generally light rain and mountain snowfall for central and northern California and western parts of the Silver State of Nevada as well. That is mostly a broad brush, though, because what Steve was mentioning there in the northwest is going to take the brunt of the rain and the snow. High pressure should steer most of the systems up to our north, but we kind of get a glancing blow in northern and central California and northern Nevada coming up here tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and to your Friday morning. High temperatures into your Friday, as I mentioned, it's going to be a warming trend for many of us. 72 in LA, 73 in Phoenix, that sounds nice, 67 in Las Vegas, and Denver 55. I can't see a single temperature here that is below average for this time. Maybe a little bit, just only a little bit above average for our friends in Grand Junction and the Grand Valley, but typically you are a bit on the cooler side this time of year with all that cold air trapped in some of those mountain valleys. Meantime, rain snow continues to quickly steer its way off to the east. Majority of it stays off to our north, but we'll see a little bit of that rain and snow for us in the northern Utah and northeast Nevada for your Friday afternoon and to your Friday night. Otherwise, we're generally calm, though we do see a few snow showers move their way into western and northern parts of the Centennial State of Colorado. The warming trend, it only continues into your Saturday. LA, 72, oh, perfect. About 70 for us in Las Vegas, mid-70s into Phoenix. Wonderful week of weather for us in Southern California, Southern Nevada, and throughout Arizona. Rain, snow, just a bit of it for us in northern parts of Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. Salt Lake City, a generally warming forecast through the weekend. Check us out on our Facebook page and give us a like while you're at it. Stay with us. More right here on Weather Nation.
And that is Weather Nation's Weather on the Fives. Weather on the Fives, 25 and 55 past the hour on most talk shows. And pretty much all the talk shows here on GJRB Online, GJRB Online Network. And 25 and 45 on some music shows, including the Positive Rock Show. Of course, we mentioned that earlier. We're bringing that back on the air. That's coming up. And we're going to do our full schedule month. And, of course, we'll be trying different schedules and trying to schedule next month to see how it works. And the brief being that, February's short. And, of course, include the Good Times Great Oldies show coming up and back to the 80s. 25 and 45, or any time in the hour that ends in 5, 10, 15, 25, 35, or 45 past the hour on GJRB Online. The Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra coming up this week. I'm hoping to get a hold of Ben, and I'm hoping that maybe he listens to this podcast on demand. They'll know that we're looking for him. I'm hoping that he could be on the show on Saturday. Let me know ahead of time. I'll message you. Hoping maybe you could be on. Other than that, I'm going to look for another guest to be in that time slot if you cannot be on. I'm going to be doing this show on here on Spreaker on Saturday. The Saturday Extra, this show being on Spreaker. Okay? We'll be on the air live 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern, right here on GJRB Online. So tune in for that. This is our midweek edition over the Hump Day Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. 5 minutes past 5 o'clock in the Central Time Zone right now. It's past 6 Eastern, past 3 Pacific, and past 2 in Fairbanks, Alaska. And you're listening to the Gary Russen program. Well, at 25 after, we'll give you our Clinton local forecast. So that's coming up next hour here on GJRB Online. So stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, let's go down the ways here and see what else we can find. I think we could get some more stories in here. We pretty much exhausted all the stories we had, except I have one coming up I think is interesting. But meanwhile, let's do this.
Now, let's scroll through social media.
That means Facebook and Twitter and all the social sites. I read what you post, find some interesting stories from there as well as the stories we're covering for you this afternoon here on GJRB Online. Did you hear this one? This was in South Florida. So cold there in South Florida that it was raining iguanas. No joke. This is weird, okay? I heard this last night on Spaced Out Radio, and I thought this is really weird. But this comes from our Spaced Out Radio page. Tune in to Spaced Out Radio tonight with Dave Scott here on Spreaker, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, 9:06 Pacific. Comes on 9:06 Pacific from Canada, from up there, British Columbia. Yeah. And that's a great show. But he thought it was unusual as residents in South Florida. It was raining iguanas. Weird or what? National Weather Service warns of falling iguanas in Miami. Yeah. The National Weather Service on Tuesday warned people in South Florida of the possibility of falling iguanas. Falling iguanas. Isn't that weird? And say it was raining iguanas after in advance of a cold weather system. This is strange, isn't it? Falling iguanas. Imagine being in Florida and seeing these things drop. Anyway, they weren't dead. They were that cold. Yeah, they were that cold. And a recent tweet, the National Weather Service says, this isn't something we usually find in a forecast, but don't be surprised if you see iguanas falling from trees tonight as lows drop to the 30s and 40s there. They can't handle the cold. The National Weather Service knows that iguanas are cold-blooded animals, and they slow down and become immobile when the weather drops below 40 degrees. Iguanas often rest and take shelter in trees and can potentially fall onto porches while in this state. This may fall from trees, but they are not dead. Okay, they are not dead. They are just that cold. Falling iguanas. Imagine sitting there and seeing this thing, hearing plops, and seeing these green things coming down from the sky, from trees. Anyway, weird. But that's what's happening in Florida. Falling iguanas. Wow. That's just weird. Further down the line, just kind of get away from that. Let's see here. What do we got? Oh yeah, this is the one that I think is interesting, and we're gonna have a promo. This is something I'm gonna have to tell our pastor, because the last 7 days. By the way, I did record the last 7 days last week. I just have not uploaded it yet. I will have that up, plus another episode coming up after that, which will be uploaded onto the GJRB Online Spreaker public site. But I'm going to show this to our pastor. This is interesting. The end of smartphones, but there's a working prototype now for a smart contact lens. A smart contact lens. Mojo Vision is a tech startup firm unveiled this. It's a working prototype of what will be claimed to be the world's first true smart contact lens. This got to be scary. This smart lens is essentially a miniaturized display and can be worn in the eye. The company says that they would probably provide directions sports scores, or even let them see the dark see in the dark. See in the dark. You can provide directions. There'd be sports scores, and it will even let you see in the dark. Now, it's a mini computer. Best part about it. What is the best part about it? No one will ever know, actually. It's there. It's been designed so people who can't see, and according to Senior Vice President of the product, the marketing, Steve St. Clair, the company has made it so that the interactions are also extremely subtle, done only with eye movements, and ensuring that no one is aware of its presence. Needless to say, this is a kind of technology has a lot of uses, and the possibilities are endless. There is still a lot of work that needs to be done before it can be used and get released to the public. Full FDA approval needed to adhere to regulations and standards, something which the company is certainly working on at this time. Along with that, being visible, the contact lens will also be unobstructive, and it's possible that the screen right in front of your eye, have a screen in front of your eye, it'll be unobstructive, but it's possible to have a screen in front of your eye that will constantly be feeding you information, which isn't what the company wants. So it's only going to give aware data they need and when they need it, rather than bombarding them with it when they don't. It's especially important in the screen will still be visible, but the eyes are closed on account of it's a contact lens. Look at this. I'm looking at this thing. It's spooky looking. It looks like a big eyeball. The tech behind it is also extremely interesting. Right the center of the lens is a miniature micro LED display, which features pixel density of 14,000 pixels per square inch, which actually is a world record according to the company. For a quick comparison, the brand new iPhone 11's crystal clear Retina display has a pixel density of 323, which is minuscule against this lens. So imagine that taking over smartphones. Again, it's going to make you look like a freaking cyborg. I don't know if I want that or not. I mean, really. Now, let's give a person the choice here. Either that or you can keep your cell phone. You can keep your smartphone. Because I don't know if I want that in my eye. I really don't. It's a scary situation when you got this kind of technology now. Because they can do all kinds of stuff to you with it. Think about the advanced technology sitting here. Bizarre. I don't know. I have my doubts about this. Don't know if I want that in my eye. Seriously. I really don't think that it's too smart. Your opinion on it's welcome. Alright, you're listening to the Gary Russen program, midweek edition. We're doing the show, and I hope that we get some more people in the chat room. You're welcome to do that. If you're listening on the air here, you can get into the chat room by getting into my Spreaker public site. That's www.spreaker.com/user/5120525, or get into my Twitter. When you get into my site, you'll see my Twitter posting. You'll see where you can find me on social sites like Facebook and Twitter. Gary John Russen on Facebook and Twitter. I am the Radio Maniac. You can listen to the show live. When you click into that, open up the widget, and you can listen live right there on Twitter. So tune in. Love to hear from you. And you can listen to the show while you're scrolling there. I'll go to Twitter in a little bit, but some of the same stories probably there as there is here, so I'm just going to go to the main Facebook page and scroll down And so we got here CBN News reporting Trump's cities. Let's try it again. Trump cities decades of failing doom prophecy in rejecting the radical socialist attacks on liberty. This comes from CBN. This story. And let's see what we got here. Let me see. Get it posted up here. Okay, what is that? Okay, that must be from that MeWe page. I'm going to go ahead and click out of that because I don't like that. That sports page is great, but it makes noise while I'm over here, so I usually click out of it. The only reason I have MeWe up is so that I can post on there. Okay. Oh, yeah, Ben Burney. I forgot about him. Okay, President Donald Trump denied committing any offenses considered impeachable, and also taunted the U.S. economy on Wednesday during a surprise news conference in Davos, Switzerland. Trump described the World Economic Forum as a tremendous success. He also said that he got to watch the glimpse of the impeachment trial in between meetings at a forum and referred to the trial as wasting time in Washington. I could agree with that. Trump also talked about the World Trade Organization, saying that it has been very unfair to the United States for many, many years, quote unquote, but, quote, we went on to say that that he could, and let's try it again. But he went on to say that he and Director General of the WTO have a tremendous relationship and will be working together on something. According to what Trump thinks, quote, maybe it'll be very dramatic, unquote. Trump used the opportunity to taunt success on the U.S. economy. They did that. Quoting someone here, the employment rate, I guess this is still Trump, since my election, this is Trump, quote, since my election, America's gained over 7 million new jobs. Unemployment rate now at its lowest ever over a half a century, and the average unemployment rate for my administration is the lowest of any U.S. president. He's right. Lowest of any U.S. president recorded history, which is very nice, unquote. And we have, quote, and continue quoting, we have some good ones, we have some bad ones. And by the way, unemployment rates among African American, Hispanic, and Asian Americans have reached a record low in the history in our country. President said everyone's talking about America's unprecedented economic success, and it's really the talk of the town, so to speak. So, there's positive stuff as well as negative stuff about President Trump. And he was talking there from Switzerland. Down the line there, we got Robert Hubert. Kanye West encourages black Americans not to vote Democrat. Yeah, okay, well, interesting. Let's go down the page here. Let's see what else we can find. I saw that story anyway. Kanye West. Yeah. Anyway, let's go down the ways. That guy's just a phony. He's a $2 bill. Let's see what else we have here. Interesting story here. We'll go up the page here, kind of past it. It's kind of interesting. Let's see what else we have here. Oh my goodness. This is from our friend Marlene. Posted this. A man died after a crash involving a Port Authority bus in Pittsburgh on McKnight Road. Man made a Crunch Carnival out of that car. It looks horrible. My goodness. That's near Pittsburgh, according to KDKA CBS 2. The Port Authority. They're saying that this accident happened between a bus and a car in Pittsburgh. According to McCandless Township, this comes out of KDKA Channel 2, as a deadly multi-vehicle accident involving a Port Authority bus which shut down part of McKnight Road. PennDOT saying that the multi-vehicle crash at McKnight Road northbound closed the road
and good evening, everyone. We'll get you up to speed on local news right now. We begin with a breaking story. Part of McKnight Road in McCandless.
Okay, got stuck. It is coming from Pittsburgh, so it got stuck. Sure. Here we go. Yeah, it's getting stuck, so the video doesn't work very good. So we're just not going to play it. If a video gets stuck, I won't play it. But just mention that the car and this happened in McCandless. The PennDOT multi-vehicle crash on McKnight Road northbound closed the road between Arcadia Drive and Cumberland Road in McCandless Township in Pittsburgh. And that mess there. And there's more on that story. Looks like that's a breaking story as of, let's say about a few minutes ago, it looks like. 45 minutes ago. So that would have probably been like about, sometime after 4 our time, 5 Eastern. So I hope you're good. About maybe an hour ago. So we'll pray for that victims and their family. I hope everybody's okay in that one. My goodness. Let's see here. We'll have weather on the 5s for Clinton, Iowa coming up, and we'll do our program schedule here pretty soon too, and give you our podcast shout-outs and promotions. Oh yeah, this is another interesting story, and I was going to mention this one. This is an interesting story. This comes out of something I did post earlier, but didn't really jump to it. Real interesting story here. It comes from Skywatch News. And not exactly know where this is at, but as soon as it comes up, I will know. It's the worst plague in 60 years. This is in Africa now, folks. A worst plague in 60 years. Locusts. Yep. Locusts. This is at least 360,000. Wow. According to let's see, where's that now? At least 360,000. And the crops have been attacked in Rajasthan, about 10 districts in the midst of a state of the worst locust infection in 60 years. The plague had been severe and can't even... Okay, 75% of the crops have been damaged as of January 18, 2020, according to the locust warming organization LWO. A recent wave of attack was by pink locusts, adult locusts with very high capacity for consuming stamina for migrating a long distance. Furthermore, these pink locusts are the most destructive among the breeds at 30 to 45 days old. They already have very strong wings and unusual black and yellow ones. LWO added that these locusts fly in groups with speed faster than any other breed. Imagine that. That's a scary situation. Showing some video of it too, looking at the situation. And so people over there in Africa dealing with a large among locusts. And that is one of the signs of the end times too. Locusts. Wow. Let's go down the page a little bit. We're going to be going over to Twitter here in just a little bit. We got weather on the 5s coming up for Clinton, Iowa. And you're listening to the Gary Russen program midweek edition here on GJRB Online. And I hope you're enjoying the program wherever you're listening across the USA. And thank you so much for tuning in. Got some TV guide pages there. Alex Trebek. Old font. Oh, that's an old TV guide page. This is a Michigan edition. 1969. Huh. Interesting. Let's go down the page a little bit here. See what else we can find. There's that coronavirus again. Bit concerned about that. because people have already entered the United States with this, and I'm sure there's going to be some more on this coronavirus that's hitting us. A lot of USA chanting "No Antifa." What has happened at the Virginia gun rights rally? Yeah, it's been going on too. The Virginia gun rights rally going on. This is according to Wayne S. Pierce. This is from a news source, sarahcarter.com. Try to get that in before we finish out the show. But that's an interesting one. Let's do that.
Now, a nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's Weather on the 5.
And let's take a look at what's going on in Clinton weather. And we're going to do that right now. First, let's take a look at some of the temperatures across America right now. 61 degrees in fair in Los Angeles. Across the way in Des Moines, 39 degrees. And it looks like it got some snow over there. We're looking out our side of our Sprinkler Studios, and I cannot see the street light yet, as of yet. But I don't see any precipitation falling in front of our studios here. 33 degrees with snow in Des Moines right now. Salem, Massachusetts, 31 and clear. Paducah, Kentucky, checking in 34 degrees and clear. Houston, Texas, 57 degrees under cloudy skies, and minus 10 in Fairbanks, Alaska. Provo, Utah is 39 degrees and cloudy. Montejo, North Carolina, 41 degrees and fair. Portland, Oregon is checking in with 50 and cloudy. Billings, Montana is 45 degrees under partly cloudy skies, and Dallas, Texas, 46. Turkey, California is in at 46 degrees and fair, and Charleston, South Carolina is checking in 49 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Over here in Clinton, Iowa, at Mayor Farms, Eagle Point Station right now, 30 degrees, feels that way right now with winds coming out of the southeast at 1 mile per hour, gusting to 9. Relative humidity is at 80%, 25 on the dew point. Cloudy skies right now, 10 miles on the visibility. We have a barometric pressure of 30.11 inches of mercury. UV index is low, not bad. And we have a good air quality of 30. Snow likely tonight at around 7:30. So expecting rain, snow here about 7:30 tonight. 70% chance of precipitation of snow this evening, becoming lighter later. Some mixed winter precipitation possible. Low 28 degrees, south-southeast winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. 70% chance of snow, and we're expecting 1 to 3 inches. 60% chance of precipitation again tomorrow. Variable cloudiness, snow showers, some mixed precipitation again. Possible, high about 34 with southeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of snow stands at 60% with snowfall coming to another additional inch, making 4 inches on the ground. 80% chance of precipitation tomorrow night. Cloudy snow showers becoming steady with another accumulating snow later on with a low around 30. East-northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour here in Clinton. Chance of snow is going to be 80% and another additional 3 inches. So we're going to be like about a little over 6 inches by the time it's over with. So, yeah, imagine that. A little over 6 inches by the time this is over with. So, yeah, how about that? Once again, current temperature, 30 degrees at our GJRB Sprinkler Studios at Mayor Farms Eagle Point Station. Here on North End, and just above our Lions Shopping District, our Spreaker Studios, 30 degrees, and it feels like 30. Weather on the 5s, 25 and 45 past the hour on most music shows, including the Good Times Great Oldie Show, and, of course, on the Positive Rock Show coming up on GJRB Online. 25-55 most talk shows, weather on the 5s here on GJRB. Thanks a lot for tuning into the program. Hope you're enjoying the show wherever you're listening across the USA, and hope you're enjoying the program. As I always bring you the best in Internet talk radio here on GJRB Online, the Gary Russen program. And coming up next, we're going to take a look at the... let's see. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at our program schedule. Stand by. We'll be right back. Got more on the way on the Gary Russen program, midweek edition.
Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.mewe.com. That's M-E-W-E. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land.
Coast to coast and way out there, fans, listen up. If you like UFO conspiracies, ghosts, and the paranormal, you'll love Spaced Out Radio, Spreaker's answer to Coast AM, with more interesting guest experts in the paranormal and UFOs each month. If you like Way Out There, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Own the night with Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Nightly at 11 p.m. Central, 12 o'clock midnight Eastern, and 9 p.m. Pacific. On Spreaker, on Periscope, and on D-Talk Radio Network.
This is the station from North Clinton, giving you the best in music variety on the nation's top podcast platform. The greatest platform on the planet, Spreaker. This is GJRB Online, the GJRB Online Network. Well, by now you should know what this music means. It's time to GJRB Online and Spreaker and Podbean bring you the GJRB Spreaker Podbean podcast shoutouts and promotions. Right now, brought to you by Spreaker and Podbean, two of Internet's podcast platforms for some great Internet radio at its best. Right there. Check it out. We got some great, there's a lot of great podcasters out there. I'm telling you what, we got a lot of them. There's like abundance full. And they play we got some good shows. I've heard some real good ones, and I've heard a couple of bad ones recently. But I'll tell you what, you want to check out podcast. Check out a guy who's on now in the morning. And he does a show on the Radio Hope Network now. He's gone. He's up in the world, man. I'm telling you what. I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Bob Huber. The Huber Experience now is over on Radio Hope Network with 45 minutes of non-stop talk. This guy doesn't stop, man, for every 15 minutes no more. He just keeps right on going for 45 minutes. How about that? It's fabulous. And I'll tell you what. Can't beat that with a stick. No, I'm telling you, this guy's fabulous. He's living his dream. I'll tell you that right now. And that's Bob Huber, the Huber Experience. You can check him out live on right here on Spreaker in the morning, right before Mike Myers. This guy's up before the dawn. Check him out. Bob Huber, Huber Experience, talks a lot about news, talks about what's going on in society, talks about pop culture. Check him out. Yeah, it's bright and early in the morning. I think it's 6 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. Check him out. You gotta listen to him. It's fabulous. And then along with that, you want to check out another guy who follows him at 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday as well on the Radio Hope Network. That's Mike Myers, the Radio Hope Network. Check out Mike Myers. He's on every morning, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, and talks about family, love, God, and just in general. It's just a fabulous. Just check it out whenever you can, because he puts on a good program. Tune into him. That's Mike Myers, Mike Myers program, Radio Hope, and don't forget you can check Mike Myers program on Muck Radio and on
Good Talk Radio Network. But Muck Radio 24/7 stream, because it's available by getting on to TuneIn and just clicking that. Okay, just do that, and you'll find all this stuff on there. He puts on a good show. I love to listen to him, so check it out. Muck Radio is a great Christian radio station 24/7. Just go to TuneIn app and type in Muck Radio, MUKRADIO, Mike Myers program. Check it out. And then I've been listening to a brand new podcast on here. It's called Nicole Simone. Now, this guy, I believe, would be the OBFSU, our Big Fat Soft Underbelly. Does some great music. Talks a lot about health, foods, health recipes. Passes along a lot of good stuff. He's fabulous. And I think he's on 8 o'clock in the evening on Wednesdays live. It's called... let's see, the Simone Nicole. You check it out. It's a good program. Puts on a good show. Tune into him. That's OBFSU or Simone Nicole Josh, and it's 8 o'clock p.m. on Wednesday nights here on Spreaker. It's a brand new one. I checked it out. It's absolutely fabulous. Listen to it. I'll get a hold of him and find out more about it. And then let's see, along the line, speaking of OBFSU, this guy had a great podcast recently. Really got into a lot of stuff. And boy, I'll tell you, he really told it like it was, too. OBFSU, our Big Fat Soft Underbelly. Now, he comes out of Houston, Texas, puts on a good show, talks a lot about that. And our light will shine. Tune in to OBFSU, our Big Fat Soft Underbelly. And that is right here on Spreaker. Check it out. And then, of course, every Tuesday night, and it was every Tuesday night now. I don't know about this one because he's changing a few things. But you want to check him out. He's here. He was here earlier. A Caramel Conservative, Ed Delgado. He's got a new plans for his radio show. He's going to be doing a first Saturday of the month 3-hour show. And I'm thinking about joining in every once in a while by phone. I'm going to try that 3-hour plan. Makes me do a lot of fun stuff, so you never know what's going to happen with that show yet. First Saturday of the month now. Now, like I said before, he's changing a few things. He's going to have some short podcasts every day. He's going to try to have something up every day. So it's a brand new podcast. He's doing something different than what he usually does. Tuesday nights. I don't know if he's going to be doing Tuesday nights anymore. I have to check with him on that one. But I'm hoping at least he does some. But he's going to be doing first Saturday of the month 3-hour extravaganza. So it's going to be fabulous. We're going to check that out. So the Caramel Conservative, Ed Delgado. So you want to check him out right here on Spreaker. And, of course, last but not least, let's check out some of the other great podcasters. You know where you can find all these people? I'll tell you where you can find them. Very easy. All you do is get on my Spreaker podcast site, www.spreaker.com/user/5120-525, or get into my Twitter. The best way is to get into my main site. It'll tell you where you find me. You'll find my page. I just started a new one. It's not a hack job. I started a new page. It's called Gary John. It's a new Facebook page, Facebook account, and putting my shows there so we get more listeners. And that's how I'm doing that. Now, I'm planning on something different. I'm going to talk about that coming up. But I might go by way of what Ed's doing a number of times. So I might be doing something along the lines of that from time to time. But I'll tell you about that coming up. But you want to check this show out? Please do. Because I got a lot of really good stuff to talk about, and I'm going to be doing something. I'll talk about it coming up. But you can find my page that way, or by getting into Twitter, TWITTER, and on the Radio Maniac, you'll see the antique radio emblem with the GJRB Online on top, and you'll find the postings of all my shows there. All the podcasts are there. All the on-demands are there. You can listen to those. And you'll find all the programs that you missed by going in there. That's I'm the Radio Maniac on Twitter. So check that out. And you can get into the chat room that way and say hi. So check that out. All right. That's right there. And on when you get into the page, you'll see a list that's called followers or following. And you'll see all the people that follow this station. I'm on top there. Gary John. That's me. Okay, Huber. Yeah, he has a great podcast on here. Mentioned him earlier. N3. There's some great music. They come out of Steubenville, Ohio. They play some really good music. N3, that's a new one just added on. I want to welcome aboard N3. Some of the new people are just joined us. N3, Huber, welcome there. COG 907, that's AKCOG. He just started something different there. He joined the bar. Welcome aboard. I want to welcome aboard Mark Watson. Joined us. Ora L. Owens. Some of the newest ones we have here. And Caprice Marie, all of them on here. And you go down the page, you'll find everyone that follows me and all my followers. And they're all there. Ben Osmano's son. And Debbie Scott's not on anymore. Keith Brooks. All of them are on here. WJAZ, I want to get some great smooth jazz out of Lexington, Kentucky. Great show. OBFSU, I mentioned him. Caramel Conservative Radio Hope Network. And, of course, tonight at 11:06 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9:06 Pacific, you'll hear Spaced Out Radio tonight. And that is a good one. That is a great show. Spaced Out Radio. David Scott from British Columbia tonight, 11:06 for some great talk. He had a show on Afterlife yesterday. It was kind of interesting somewhat. I got to listen to that from the beginning, but he had a good show. Tune in 9:06 tonight, Pacific, 11:06 Central, 12:06 Eastern for Spaced Out Radio with David Scott, and he has a great show from Canada. So some of the podcasters you'll find, and you'll find them by getting on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com, and don't forget if you're starting a podcast either on Spreaker or on Podbean, that's where you'll find it. Okay, so check that out. And you'll find all those great podcasts. And don't forget, for people who listen on Podbean, I'll be on numerous times. It just depends on the situation. I don't know when I'll be on. I'm going to be doing a schedule with Podbean too. So I'm going to be working on that. But as far as that's concerned, I don't know when I'll be on Podbean again until I kind of iron out the sound issues I'm having over there. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing with that just yet. So we'll see. But that's it. For Podbean listeners, don't forget, Black Dragons Radio will be coming back on the air real soon. I was getting a hold of him. He says it's coming right along. I talked to him, I think, last week, BJ. And I guess he'll be coming back on the air real soon. That's Black Dragons Radio. That's can be heard on Podbean. That's Podbean. Podbean. That's another podcast platform. I'm on that too. I have a radio station there called WGJR Worldwide, an affiliate of. It's one of our newest affiliates, WGJR Worldwide, and that's on Podbean. And you'll find our show there as well. WGJR Worldwide, and I have some good programs there too as well. And other great Podbean podcasters included these two guys called Live and Direct. They're fabulous. They help people get out of jail who have been wrongly accused. I think it's a great thing for them to do. Absolutely fabulous. I give them all the credit in the world for doing that. That's great. And they're on they do various live programs, and they have podcasts they upload. So it's pretty good. Check that out. And that's it for our Spreaker Podbean shout outs and promotions. Like I said, if you want to get on it, you could be on there. You can just join free, www.spreaker.com, and just put in an account. Start one through your Facebook, and if you just do 15 minutes, that's a good start. And, let people know you're there. 15 minutes, that's all. Got 15 minutes left of this show. But 15 minutes at all. 15 minutes. And you can do live radio for that time. and let's get to know you and do a podcast. Let me know you're doing one, and I'll announce it on the air here on GJRB. That's a fun way to do radio. Spreaker, Spreaker. That's Spreaker spelled wrong backward on purpose with an R. Spreaker, standing for radio. Spreaker, and broadcast to the world. All right. Getting wrapping up here for our 14 minutes left of the show, and I want to use this time. So I don't think I'll have time for that other article I was going to mention, but I don't always have time for every article. I try to make time for every article, but it was that one on the chanting "No Antifa." What has happened at the Virginia gun rights rally? We'll talk about that coming up on a future show. As a matter of fact, I'll be back on the air on Friday at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, here on GJRB with the Gary Russen program, Freestyle Friday edition. That's an open show, open lines, no holds barred, never know what's going to happen type of show. And that'll be Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock right here on Spreaker, and we'll talk about that Antifa thing. I'll save that story, so check that out. And also talk about some other things as well. It's going to be a good show on Friday. Hope you'll tune in for that. 3 o'clock Central Standard Time here on Spreaker. And then Saturday, we're going to try and see if we can get hold of Ben and be as a guest on our show. Otherwise, I'm going to have a backup. I do have a backup in case he doesn't call or he can't make it again. I have a predictions that's way overdue. That our pastor made a recent last 7 days at our church. I will play that if he does not make it to the show. That'll be on Saturday, the second hour. So that'll be Saturday afternoon, the second hour, right here on GJRB Online. So join me for the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern, right here on the GJRB Online Network. And we'll have another great show. That'll be right here on Spreaker. Okay? And with the last 12 minutes left, I want to take this time to talk about what we got planned out for GJRB Online. Like I said earlier, I started a new account. A lot of people are asking me if I'm not hacked. I started a new account on Spreaker. It's called Gary John, and that is where I'm going to put a lot of my show's postings. So if you're a follower of me, you can just go over there and ask Gary John for a friend request. That is a legit page. That is a legit account. It's another Spreaker page. It's another Facebook page in which I put my shows on so that people can catch my show. So if you want to follow me on there, and I am not hacked, Gary John with the radio dial, which is the radio dial pointing at 88. That is me. Okay? And when you get in there, friend me, and you can listen, you can catch my show. Now, a lot of people telling me, follow me on Facebook, that my Spreaker podcast widgets are not being posted while I'm live. So what I did to go past that, especially for a lot of you who are followers of GJRB Online, that Facebook page still exists, but you can find my show also on Gary John Facebook page. Okay, that's where I post my show so that you can catch it there. Okay, and that is where it'll find me. Now, what I get from that is more listeners, hopefully. Hopefully that site will grow and it'll help me to get some listeners. I post my show there by friending myself on my regular Facebook page. And I post this show that way by sharing this show with myself on Gary John's site. So if you follow me there, you'll get my show. You'll see the postings right there live when I go on the air. Now, on that page is another Spreaker account. Okay, because when I start a Facebook page, another account, I get another Spreaker account. Now that will remain a free plan. That's going to be that's on the free plan. Now what I'll do over there is do a 15-minute preview of another of the coming show. I'll do a 15-minute preview of a coming show over on that for Gary John. So you'll see Gary John on Spreaker. That's my other station, but that is used as a preview of coming shows, what's going to be on them. It'll be an audio preview, and that'll be kind of a promotional thing to promote coming shows. So I'm going to use that as a 15-minute preview and a 15-minute commentary. Kind of like the way Rush Limbaugh does a 15-minute commentary, a preview of what's coming up on the show. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm thinking that'll give me some audience there, especially for my talk show. Because like I said, I was not getting audience before, and I think this could maybe help things a little bit along the way by doing this. So that's why I'm setting that up to be able to do that, because I think it'll make it more available to me. Now coming up, I'll be, like I said, I'll be on the air Friday and again on Saturday. Will not be on the air tomorrow. We've got some stuff I want to work on. I'm going to be going up to the church to record the last 7 days, so I'm going to have that available. I'll have 2 episodes getting uploaded, so I'm going to be working on those. And then I'm going to be working on the coming shows for February and my radio schedule. Now, I got what I call a GJRB schedule update podcast video, which will be going up as soon as I'm just about done with my graph schedule. And I'm just going to color code it yet for some of the programs. And I'm going to be working on that one coming up. And those are going to be some of the shows that are going to air regularly on GJRB Online. And some will be on Podbean as well. I'm going to have a separate Podbean schedule made up. And so I don't, like I said, until I get that done, I probably won't be doing that video until everything's completed. And then I will schedule a GJRB schedule update video podcast kind of thing, in which I'll show you how the schedule is going to work, how the programs are going to air, and also I also have the Podbean schedule rundown and how I'm going to rotate all the programs on all the platforms. So that's pretty much what it's going to be. Now, all my music shows are going to continue to be here on Spreaker, because the audio quality on Podbean is not to my satisfaction. So I'm going to do a majority of my music shows, and most of them will be here on Spreaker. But possibly we could do Podbean, but it will be Spreaker for now, until I get that ironed out, because I don't know exactly what's going on with that at this time, and I don't want to mess with it. So I'm going to be working on that right now. It's in its beginning stages, and I don't think that I have to work. So I take those days to work on it, because I have some programs that I'm working on right now that I want to do. So that I'm working on a radio, television, and movie classics, and I'm working on a new episode of Way Out There. So I got that one going on. Okay, so I'm working on that one at this time. So I got those 2 that where I'm working on. I got another episode of Way Out There I'm working on, and I've got some guests that I want to line up. So that's pretty much what I do. So some days I'm going to be off the air. Some days I'm going to be on the air. It just depends on how things go. I got some more programming plans that I'm working on. Like I said, rotating shows, and I'm going to be doing all that. I'm working on all kinds of new broadcast plans. But this GJRB schedule update podcast will be coming up as a video on the GJRBTV YouTube channel. So subscribe to that, hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified when that live feed will go up. And you'll see our program schedule. And we're working on that one. I'm thinking about doing it live, but I might change my mind back and do a recording. I don't know yet. I'm going to see what I can do about recording it first, because sometimes my videos get stuck, And I'm planning on this being only an hour because I'm not going to do too much more trying to cram everything in an hour and a half, and it doesn't work out. So this will be an hour-long video cast on the GJRBTV YouTube channel, and it will show you the program schedule graph for both GJRB Online Network and the WGJR Worldwide on Podbean. So I'll be working on that one. I've got plans in the making to finish that so that I can get it on the air by the end of the month. And in February, I'm going to be doing a trial run of that schedule on days that I can. So basically what it's going to be, whatever I can, I'm going to follow that schedule. So whatever program is coming up on that calendar, you'll see it. And I'll probably be making a schedule calendar around the studios here as well, showing what times and what days I'll be on the air. So I'm going to be working on that one. That's the pet project that I'm working on at this point. Other ones, because some shows are going to be coming from our Church of Christ studios, but for right now, that is kind of still hanging because we are still need to get a signal booster over there, a signal booster for the Wi-Fi because it's not strong enough to pull a live podcast over there yet. The podcast is not strong enough yet. So I'm going to be only recording the podcast up there. I'll probably be doing some recordings there, promos, voice tracking, what have you. But I will probably not be broadcasting live there until I get that fixed. So at this point, that's just something I got to work on. It will probably be, worked on, but it's going to be a while before we get that accomplished. It's just something that needs to be fixed yet there, because until we get a stronger Wi-Fi signal there, can't broadcast from there at this time. But like I said before, we got some other great programs coming up, and like I said before, I have a disclaimer at the end of that, and you'll see that. A trial run in February. All programs that come up are the ones I'll do. And I'm going to do a trial run of the schedule to see how things are going to work out on it. We're going to start with daytime programs first, and then see what we can do with the nighttime ones as well. So we're just going to play around with that schedule in February and see how it works. And then in March, work all the glitches. So that's pretty much how that's going to go at this time. Yeah. So that's going to wrap it up for the Gary Russen program midweek edition. And we'll be back on the air again on Friday for our Freestyle Friday edition. I'll explain more on our program schedule and how that's going to work. And other stuff coming up, so stay with me for that. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I want to thank Ed Delgado for joining us in the chat room. And we'll be back again live on Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock again on Saturday for the Saturday Extra. Until then, have your best night ever. So long, everyone. This is the GJRB Online Network.